Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel in the first place. Today we have an Izuku X Listener. It's The Notebook by Quiet Legends on AO3. The link will be in the description, and let's go ahead and get into it. Heavy smacks of leather and subsequent jingle of chain echo through the hall you were walking down. It was almost 2 in the afternoon, way past the time you were originally supposed to pick him up. After waiting in the car for 20 minutes, you decided to just go find him instead. From the sounds of it, he was still in the training gym at his agency. That man could never get enough, always pushing himself to the limits and usually beyond. Reaching the door, you poked your head through, met with the sight of him abusing that poor punching bag that seemed to be at its limits, the chain rattling in complaint of his relentless strikes. Watching on in silent awe at the man, hoping he wouldn't notice your presence quite yet. Shirt long since abandoned somewhere off to the side, sweat rolling down his flexed back muscles, and bangs pinned up with a band, completely focused on the bag in front of him as if it really were his arch-enemy. Hands wrapped tight, with each smack, drops of small sweat and dust would explode out each time it connected. It was mesmerizing, in a way. It always was whenever you got a chance to watch him work out. Izuku still hadn't noticed as you casually leaned against the door, admiring the view. Maybe spatial awareness was the next thing he should work on. A few more solid punches before he delivered a vicious roundhouse kick that finally snapped the chain and sent the bag flying. "Crap," he muttered, rubbing the back of his neck as the sand steadily poured out of the defeated bag. "What did that poor thing ever do to you?" Your chuckle grew to a full-out cackle when he nearly jumped out of his skin at your voice. "Oh, listener," he breathed, grabbing his chest and sighing with relief when he found you leaning on the door. With a shake of his head and a slight chuckle, he grabbed a small towel on the bench and dabbed the glistening sweat off his face and neck. "You scared me. Have you been working on your stealth skills?" "Wait, you mean I was able to scare the unflappable hero Deku?" Pushing off the door, you sauntered into the room. "Maybe you should just work on your sensory skills." Then, crossing your arms with a smirk, "Or your timekeeping skills." The pro hero blinked and then glanced at the clock on the wall. "Shit, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how late it had gotten." Throwing the towel haphazardly towards his gym bag, Izuku grabbed both your hands. "I can be in and out of the showers in 5 minutes." With a quick kiss to your cheek, he nearly tripped over his feet in his haste to get to the locker room showers. 5 minutes, I swear." The promise slipped out the door before it slammed shut. Faint squeaks of faucets and the steady fall of water told you he would keep his word, so you went to gather his things into the duffel bag sprawled on the bench. Packing a shirt and water, you noticed a few notebooks tucked in the bottom of the bag. Izuku had shown you his extensive collection of notebooks plenty of times, each with their own heavily detailed notes on whatever quirks or heroes that had caught his eye. A few of them you recognized as his most recent ones that he'd been eager to show you, but a smaller one, barely poking out from underneath a stack, caught your eye. You'd never seen it before. Black, plain on the cover, with no other indicator as to what it contained. Out of curiosity, you plucked it from the bag and sat down on the bench. The first thing that struck you as strange was the fact that the cover was blank. Izuku was meticulous with organizing his notes, so he never lost any of them. Every notebook was always labeled. So why was this one so different? A quick glance up at the locker room doors. He would still be a few minutes. It couldn't hurt to take one peek. Besides, he always let you freely look through his notes. It was something he used to be so shy and nervous about, but after he got excited reading through one, that shyness evaporated, replaced by a confident pride in his passion. Carefully, you opened the cover, peeked down at the front page, and froze. Breath caught in your throat as you reread the words written in familiar scratchy handwriting. Notes on listener. What could he have possibly written about you? Sure, he's shown you some notes he'd done on your quirk before, but those were in his other notebooks, with other people's quirks. Nothing special. This, on the other hand, seemed different and quite personal. What could warrant an entire notebook dedicated just to you? There was a full second of debate in your brain whether you should explore further, but that deep-seated curiosity won out in the end, and you flipped to the next page. It started off with basic facts listed about you: height, hair color, eyes, and other physical features. There were even little doodles spread throughout the page to highlight different features. Then it got into a deeper analysis of your quirk, and all the ways he thought to improve or enhance it. That part wasn't surprising. Izuku did love talking about quirks, but the further you read, the more personal it became. Flipping through a few, you landed on one page titled First Date. Below was a thorough description of where you went and what you two did, but it mainly focused on you. A tiny sketch of your smiling face in the bottom corner had you mirroring the expression. It was drawn with precision and care. Izuku was a surprisingly good artist. Thrown around the page in little blurbs were small facts he'd learned that night. Likes all the M&Ms except the yellow ones. Allergic to lilies, their favorite flower. Likes collecting seashells. Left cheek dimples when they smile, etc. That smile only grew bigger and brighter the more you read, hands subconsciously sliding over your left cheek to find the dimple. It wasn't surprising he knew all of these things. The man was an expert observer. He didn't climb to the top 10 for nothing. But the fact that he had an entire notebook reserved solely for you made you feel a bit breathless. Reading a few more pages, you got so absorbed into the book that you didn't hear the shower shut off. Before you could read any more, the locker room door opened and Izuku stepped out furiously, trying to dry his hair with a towel. He was dressed nice, ready for the afternoon date he'd planned. When he stepped out, you flinched so hard you nearly dropped the little notebook before shoving it back into the bottom of his bag. Trying not to look suspicious, you picked up the bag, shuffled the contents around, and met him halfway across the gym. Ready? You cleared your throat, holding the bag out for him to dump the towel in. He smiled. Yeah, sorry about that. Folding the towel, he stuffed it into the bag, and then slung it over his shoulder. I can't believe I got so distracted. You weren't waiting long, were you? Only 20 minutes, but seeing the guilty look on his face, you shrugged. No, not long. With a relieved sigh, he nodded, wrapping his arm around your shoulder as the two of you headed outside. Walking down the hall, passing a few of his sidekicks who all gave him winks or waves, his face seemed to grow redder and redder. Are you alright? You asked when he cleared his throat, messing with his hair. You're usually only this distracted when you're worried or stressed about something. Did anything happen? Although, based on the airy mood in the building, it seemed like everything was going great at the agency. Readjusting the bag over his shoulder, he flashed you a twitchy smile. What? No, I'm not. I'm fine. Yeah, real convincing. I know the Billboard charts are coming out soon. You're not that worried about that, are you? Poking his chest with a grin. I know you're gonna do great. You're an amazing hero, Izuku. He looked down at you, lips finally spreading out in a genuine smile. Thank you. Nuzzling his face closer to yours, he kissed you just below your ear, and you let out a small gasp at the sensitivity and smacked his chest, glancing around the now empty hall. Laughing, he opened the door for you and led you out to the car. So where are we going? You asked when he opened the passenger door for you. Wherever he wanted to take you was apparently on a need-to-know basis, and according to him, you didn't need to know yet. So, with a wink, he went around to the trunk to put his bag in. One glance up to see you messing with your phone, and he fished through the bag until he found the little black book. With a quick flip of the pages, he landed on the last full one. It was a checklist. 20-step proposal plan. The first 7 lines were already checked off. And as quickly and as stealthily as he could, he pulled out a pen and checked off number 8. Stall at gym until 2. A giddy smile crossed his face as he read the next number. Surprised with a bouquet of chocolate lilies on the way to go to the Kai Boardwalk. Mr. Takahashi will have them waiting at his booth. Tonight was the night. Everything was planned, maybe a little too much, but he wanted to be prepared. Being at the gym while still on task to get you out of the way of preparations also being served to weed out some of his anxieties about tonight. Everything was still right on track. One more lingering glance up, he snapped the book shut and buried it deep in his bag. A deep breath, and he slammed the trunk shut. Tonight was the night. Alright, that's the end of this one. I hope you enjoyed.